Well, thank you for all for being here, and it's my privilege to present to you now the fourth wise man.
We bring you now a tale as old as wine. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. Now, you're all familiar with the story of the three wise men who traveled a great distance by following the star of Bethlehem to celebrate the birth of Jesus. But did you know that there was a fourth magi? Yes, it's true. And now we'd like to share his story with you. So, first, allow me to set the scene. Picture this: we're all high up in the mountains of Persia in a beautiful town where every view is breathtakingly beautiful. In fact, it's so breathtaking that when visitors arrive in town and look down into the valley, it often sounds something like this. Or when they look up at the mountain peaks, it sounds like this.
Oh, my Irene!
And when they gaze out across the mountain and take in the view of the summer palace of the emperor himself, they usually sound something like this.
Wow.
Thank you. Now we find ourselves in the house of Artaban, a magi, or magus. As you know, a magi or magus is someone who has devoted their life to studying the heavens in search of truth about God. Artaban's house is also beautiful. It's surrounded by gardens and streams. Birds sing musically, small animals frolic in the distance. Even the insects know to keep their distance. It's a perfect place. Now, the sun has just gone down. Artaban has assembled 8 other fellow magi for a special gathering. A fire is lit in the center of a beautifully decorated room. Joining Artaban are his good friends and fellow magi, Abdus, Rhodospis, Tigranes, his mentor Agbaris, and 4 other magi who don't have lines in the scene.
Good evening, my friends. It's good to see you all.
Good to see you too, Artaban, but why so serious? What is this big announcement? Have you found a new wine for us to drink?
Artaban, Abdus, Rhodospis, Tigranes, Agbaris, and the other magi all lightly laugh. It's a festive group among friends.
My dear Abdus, I see you have come tonight to rekindle your faith. I have been studying the stars and have searched the ancient tablets and have discovered a prophecy of the one who shall save us all. And he is coming very, very soon.
How soon? Soon? In our lifetime soon? Can I finish my drink soon?
My guess is that it's in approximately 1 month. There will be an unmistakable star that we are to follow. And I believe it will lead us to Jerusalem.
There's stunned silence as the other magi exchange looks with one another.
Artaban, that's impossible. You must be mistaken. Those mythical numbers are impossible to compute. And if I had a drink every time someone came to me with a prophecy,
That's not saying much.
I drink to your good health.
I had a prophecy that I was going to have a good time tonight. And look what's happening.
Know in my heart that this is true. You must believe me.
Artaban unfolds 2 scrolls to show them proof of his work and the clarity of his conclusion.
Artaban, this is all very impressive. But what exactly are you saying?
I'm saying it's time, my friends. Don't you see how fortunate we are? Not only to have the prophecy revealed, but to know that we can be part of it. I invite you, my fellow magi, my fellow seekers of wisdom and truth, of love and light, to join me on this once-in-a-lifetime journey. I have even conferred with the other 3 magi. We all came to the same conclusion. I didn't want to tell you until I was absolutely certain.
Artaban, you can't be serious. Don't be a fool.
In fact, I am a fool, and a very serious one at that. I have sold everything I own, including this house, and with the money, I bought these 3 jewels as a gift for our future king.
Artaban shows them a beautiful red ruby, a sparkling blue sapphire, and a shimmering white pearl.
I'm sorry, but it's getting late, and I promised my wife I'd be home early. Good night.
Artaban, we should be spending our time and money on real things, not chasing shadows and folklore. Besides, I couldn't even if I wanted to. You know I have that really important job and I can't risk losing that. I worked my whole life to get that really important job. You want me to go off and chase some fool's errands and lose my really important job?
One by one, they each make an excuse and leave Artaban's house until he's left alone with Akbaris, the oldest and the one who loved Artaban the best.
Akbaris, I knew I could count on you.
My son, you may very well be right about this sign in the stars, or may be wrong in chasing shadows, but it's better to chase the shadow of the best than be content with the worst. I am too old now to join you on this journey, and those who see such beauty must often be ready to travel alone. But I shall be with you in my heart. My spirit shall be with you to the end. Go in peace.
Artaban gathers his 3 jewels and stares at the fire for several hours. When the fire is out, he stands and walks outside into the dark night. He looks at his 3 great gems, a sapphire as blue as the Persian sky at night, a ruby as red as the first rays of sunshine, and a pearl as white and pure as the snow on a mountaintop at twilight. He then looks up at the sky and sees a tiny spark on the horizon. He watches it grow larger and larger as it rises higher into the sky. Flashes of light surround a newborn star gleaming with red and blue and purest white.
It's the sign! The king is coming!
Early the next Early the next day, before the sun has come up, Artaban approaches his fastest and most reliable horse, Vashta. Artaban and Vashta have a special bond, a connection so strong that it seems as though they can hear each other's thoughts, as if we could hear those thoughts. And if we could hear those thoughts, it would go something like this.
What took you so long? I've been standing here all night waiting for you. Is this any way to treat your favorite horse?
Vashta, we're going on the most important journey of our lives.
Don't change the subject. Answer me.
Vashta, we're going to meet our savior.
Oh, our savior, is it? Good. Maybe he can save me from you. Of all the things to say to a horse. And how long is this journey?
We have 10 days to meet our friends, and then I would say another 20 days, so 30 days in all.
30 days? How many horses are you bringing? Just me?
You are the fastest and most reliable horse I know.
Well, that's because the faster I go, the faster I get you off my back.
It's an unusual relationship, but Artaban doesn't want to waste any more time and climbs onto his horse.
Yee! What did you eat last night? Oh, my poor back.
Despite all of that, Artaban and Vashta fly like the wind. 10 days is hardly enough time to make the trip, and the other magi said that they would wait for him for 10 days after sighting the star. So Artaban and Vashta speed through towns, over mountains, and through rivers. They start each day before sunrise and don't stop until well after sunset. Poor Vashta is exhausted and can hardly walk as night falls on the 10th day. But Artaban knows they're close to reaching the Temple of Babylon and join the other magi, so he urges Vashta on.
Are we there yet?
Only 3 more hours, Vashta, and then you can rest.
Death! Death! Death!
Vashta comes to a complete stop.
Vashta, this is no time for games.
There is death! lurking in this place.
Pasha, you can rest soon. We're almost there.
Just then Artaban notices something in the road. He slides off his horse and spots the body of a man. The man seems dead, but as Artaban turns back to leave, the poor man groans and reaches out for help. The man is still alive, but just barely alive.
I've got a bad feeling about this. We should keep going. What if whoever did this comes back?
We can't just leave him like this, can we, Bajda?
He's alone and no one will ever know. And we have a greater mission, don't we?
Yeah, my mission is to find my savior.
And my mission is not to die. So it's settled. Let's get on with it.
Artaban's thoughts turn to Akbaris, his wise mentor. Artaban hears his voice.
Artaban, my son, I know your heart well, and I trust that you will serve it even now.
But if I stay, I will miss the others and miss my chance.
You don't know that for certain, and your friends may wait for you.
I know that staying here will only help this one man, who may not even survive the night.
And if you leave them, what will become of you and the rest of your life?
Wait, why are you listening to him? He's not even here. I'm the only one with you right now. Listen to me. You'll be fine. Let's not die.
My spirit is with you, Artaban. Consider what is truly real in your heart.
And I'm a talking horse. It doesn't get more real than that.
Artaban looks up at the stars as if beckoning to him, and then he looks down at the dying man.
Pasha, we're staying.
Okay, fine. I'm tired of talking anyways.
Artaban moves the dying man to a more comfortable ground, gives him water and some medicine that he had been carrying for the trip. After several hours, the man awakens and asks him who he is. Artaban tells him of the prophecy and his journey.
I hope you understand. I'm going to leave you with all of the bread and water I have left, as well as these healing herbs. When you're strong enough, I hope you can make your way to Babylon.
Thank you for saving my life. I've nothing to give you in return but this. I know of this prophecy, and a prophet said that the Messiah will not be born in Jerusalem, but in Bethlehem. Please find your friends and go there. Shalom, peace be with you, my son.
Finally.
It's not too late, Bashta. I need you to ride like a gazelle.
Did you just call me a gazelle? How dare you?
Artaban and Vashta race to Babylon. It is now well after midnight, and Artaban feels equal parts hope and fear that his friends are there or gone. After many hours, it's morning now, and they arrive in Babylon and enter the temple to look for the other magi. He finds no other magi and no caravan. He does, however, find a note left under some rocks. Artaban picks it up and reads.
We waited until after midnight, but couldn't wait any longer. We go to find the king. Follow us across the desert.
Artaban stares at the note and sits on the ground. He covers his head in despair.
I just missed them. I shouldn't have stopped for that man. How can I cross the desert alone with no food and an exhausted horse?
You can't.
I must sell my sapphire and buy a camel and food for the journey. Only God knows whether I will lose my chance to find the king because I stopped to help that man.
So Artaban sells his sapphire, buys a camel and supplies, and sets out across the desert. After several long and difficult weeks, Artaban arrives in Bethlehem. He searches the town for his friends and for the baby. He sees a stone cottage with a young woman inside rocking a baby to sleep. Could this be him? Artaban asked the young mother if she saw his three friends.
Yes, there were 3 strangers from the east who came and gave precious gifts to Joseph and Mary and their newborn son. But the strangers left suddenly, and just last night, Joseph took his family and disappeared without a word. The rumor is that they have fled to Egypt to escape some kind of danger.
Artaban's heart sinks.
I have failed once more.
I'm so sorry. Here, let me put the baby down and I'll make something for you to eat. Please, sit.
Suddenly, there's a wild noise outside in the street. People are screaming and crying out. The sounds of swords and armor fill the air. Artaban runs to the doorway as the young mother takes her baby and hides in the shadows of the room.
The soldiers of Herod are coming for our children.
A towering soldier, a centurion, approaches Artaban, wanting to go inside the cottage. Artaban stands still, filling the doorway, and glares into the soldier's eyes. Artaban slowly reaches into his tunic. The soldier reaches for a sword. Artaban slowly and carefully reveals the large ruby. The centurion relaxes. Artaban watches the soldier's eyes glitter with greed.
I am alone here, and I am waiting to give this gem to the centurion who will leave me in peace.
The soldier quickly takes the jewel and then turns and shouts to his men.
March on, there is no child here.
The other soldiers continue down the street, leaving Artaban and a relieved young mother and her baby.
Oh God, please forgive me for telling this lie and for giving to a man that gift that was meant for you. Will I ever be worthy enough to see the face of the king?
From the shadows, the young mother hears Artaban's prayer and softly says,
Because you have saved the life of my son, may the Lord bless you and be with you for all of your days.
The next morning, Artaban decides to follow Joseph and his family into Egypt, but he cannot find them. Month after month, year after year, Artaban searches for his king, but the answer is always the same. There's no king to be found. Meanwhile, wherever he goes, he feeds the hungry and cares for the sick. He visits those in prison and gives whatever he can. And all this time, he carries his last remaining gem, the beautiful white pearl, hoping one day to present it to the one he continues to seek. After 33 long years of searching, Artaban is now very old and very tired, but something tells him to make one final journey. Arriving in the city of Jerusalem, Artaban watches a shouting, pushing crowd work its way through the narrow streets. Artaban turns to a shopkeeper.
What's going on?
Where have you been? 2 famous robbers are to be crucified today, along with another man called Jesus, who claims to be the Son of God. He's going to be executed because he said he is the King of the Jews. Can you believe that?
Artaban's heart races at the man's words. Could it be that he has found his king at last? Perhaps if he hurries, he can get there in time to offer his great pearl to the enemies of the king and rescue him before he dies. Artaban races down the street, but just before he reaches the city gates, he is stopped by a troop of soldiers dragging a young girl. The girl is crying, her hair is tangled and her dress is torn. Seeing Artaban, she throws herself on his feet and cries out,
Have pity, kind sir. My father died owing these men a great sum of money. I'm going to be sold as a slave to pay the debt. Please save me from a life worse than death.
Artaban considers what Vajda would say in this moment, because part of him is thinking the same thing.
You missed your king before when you helped somebody in trouble. Are you going to repeat that same mistake? You're so close to the end. Your king is just beyond these gates. You can save him with your pearl. Can you really give up this chance? After 33 years of searching, he is here at last.
Artaban looks into the eyes of the helpless girl and hears Agbaras's voice.
The only thing that is certain right now is that rescuing this girl would be the true act of love, and isn't the ability to love the gift of the one true God.
Just then, one of the soldiers pulls the girl to her feet and tries to yank her away. Before he can think, Artaban reaches out to the girl, takes her hand, and places the pearl into the hand of the weeping girl.
This is your ransom, child. It is the last of my treasures, which were to be given to the king. Pay off your debt and be free.
At that very moment, the sky darkens and thunder echoes all around them. The walls of the houses and the ground shake so much that the soldiers run away, leaving Artaban and the girl alone. The earth then shakes one more time, and a piece of the roof near them breaks loose and strikes Artaban in the head. Artaban crumbles to the ground. The girl drops down to him, thinking that he's been killed. And then she hears a gentle and beautiful voice as if in the distance, but the voice is so far away that she can't make out the words. She turns and looks up to see who is speaking, but there is no one there. When she looks back at Artaban, she sees that he is alive and that his lips are moving.
That's not true, my lord. When were you ever so hungry that I fed you, or so thirsty that I gave you a drink? When were you a stranger that I took in? When were you ever so sick or in prison that I cared for you or visited you? For 33 years, I have searched for you, but I've never seen your face or been in your presence before.
The same soft and beautiful voice comes back, and this time the young girl can hear the words, and this is what we hear.
What I tell you now is the truth. Whenever you helped the least of me, the sick, the hungry, the poor, the suffering, any one of my people in need, you have seen me and done those things to me. Come now, Artaban, my son, it's time to rest.
Artaban looks up toward the sky. A calm radiance of wonder and joy lights his pale face like the first ray of dawn sunshine on a snowy mountain peak. One long last breath of relief exhales gently from his lips. Artaban's journey is complete. His treasures have been accepted. The other wise man has found the king. The end. Thank you, everybody. If all the actors could join me in a bow. Thank you all for coming. I just want to say thank you to all the actors and the technicians for making this happen, especially to Pastor Charles for his leadership, for inspiring us all, and for really being the one to make this happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. I mean, couldn't have done this without all of you. And we have so many talents. I'm going to ask you to actually unmute everybody. And could you give acclamation to our crew and actors? Everybody, please. unmute everybody. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.